So welcome everybody to session 2 of Alma Data Visualization. The plan for today is to briefly review what we did last time. That's the brief review here. We're going to make another project just to refresh ourselves. What is the data visualization and how do we create a project? Then we're going to talk about using an input file together with Alma Data. We're going to upload an Excel sheet and use that as part of the project. Then we're going to talk about different options for using filters with the data visualization. Then we'll talk about using functions and describe what that is. And then how to navigate the projects which are saved together with the analytics reports, and that is the catalog and the navigation. Alicia, you go translate, and then we'll start with part A.
Okay, thank you. 各位大家好，今天谢谢大家的参加。那我们这一次所讲的主题是资料视觉化的第2场。那我们今天大概会说明的地方，包含现在投影片上面所看到的5个事情。第一个事情，我们会稍微再检视一下我们上次做的事情，告诉大家如何可以产制一个专案。那接下来我们会讨论的部分有 BCDE， 有包含要如何输入一个档案，或在对一些专门的栏位去做过滤或者是筛选。那我们会再来解释 function 这个功能可以怎么使用，最后会有浏览的一些功能，那都是跟资料视觉化相关的。那我们接下来会从 A 的部分开始做说明。Yoel, please.
Okay, so now let's begin here. Let me close all these things. Sorry about that. And so I'm in Alma, and from within Alma, we're going to access the data visualization. And we said last time that the link to data visualization for Alma and the data visualization for Primo appears if the user has the role called Designs Analytics. And because I am logged in as a user who has that role, I see the links here. And here, a new tab opens up for the data visualization, and we're ready to create a new project. Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay. 那正如我们上次所说的，要使用资料视觉化，请先记得确认一下您的这一个进入的账号是否已经有 Design Analytics 的这个角色或身份。有的话呢，你就会看到这个功能，并且点选之后，它会在新的视窗进行开启。Yoel, please.
Okay, so we're going to create a new project. This is a review from last time, so I'm going to go a little faster than last time until we get to the new parts, and then I'll slow down. So we're going to create a project, and then we'll choose a subject area. Note now that I have data sets and subject areas. Later, when we do an input file, we're going to use the data set. So I'm going to subject areas, and somebody suggest a subject area. Who wants to suggest what subject area am I going to make a project in? Alicia, them in Chinese for a suggestion. Which subject area do they want me to use?
有没有人想要推荐一下，想要看哪一个部分的 subject area？ 那我们再说明一下哦，就是进来之后呢，我们都要先到那个右上角产生一个新的一个 project 之后呢，那我们要 create 这个 project 之后，接下来的下一个动作，你要先选 subject area 之后才能够执行做比如说我们接下来要展示的 input file 这样的一个功能。那所以想问一下，有没有人想要看特别想看哪一个 subject area 的一个资料视觉化呢？有的话可以在我们的聊天视窗上面进行回复。You have done the translation. I'm not too sure if we see any chat coming in for a specific subject area.
Okay, I'll choose one. Let's take
fulfillment.
Okay, great. All right, fulfillment. Add to project. Okay, so I chose fulfillment. I clicked add to project. And what's going on here? Let me close that. So now I have on the left, in my left pane, the same subject area that we know from Alma Analytics. And I'll start making a basic report here. I'll take the number of not-in-house loans. I'll drag that in. I'm dragging it to the right. The right side here is called the canvas. When I drag in a measure, this is a measure, it automatically becomes a tile, and I'm going to change this to a table. I'm changing the visualization to a table. Boom. So now I've made it a table. Now, by the way, we see here, I'm going to put on my glasses to see this. We see at the end, by the way, that it says 0.00. Let me put that back as a tile. The number is 487.00. If we don't want the 0.00 there, if we want to change the format, we can do that here on the bottom. On bottom left, I'm going to click the hash sign where it says values. And then in number format, instead of auto, I'll say I want a number, and the decimal will be none. So now I have no decimals. I'm going to put that back to a table, drag in one more field before you translate, Alicia, one more field up the library. So we'll have number of loans per library. So we've got a folder here, item location at time of loan. I'll put in the library name. And I'll do a very basic filter. I'm selecting some with my mouse, and then I'm going to right click and say keep selected. Okay, so I've created the beginning of a very basic project. Go ahead, Alicia.
OK，不好意思，这边先跟大家说明一下，因为我们之前有提过类似的功能，所以我们这个部分会稍微说明的比较快。那如果大家有任何问题，欢迎提出来。那我们这边呢，诚如刚刚的一个我们的建议就是说，收到是希望能够做看 fulfillment 这样的读者服务的一个资料视觉化的一个简单的 project。所以呢，一样我们就会看到 fulfillment 点进来之后，左边的这列表跟我们 Alma Analytics 其实基本上是相符的。那刚刚他拉了其中一个数字到右边，那你看拉右边的时候，它只会有单一的数字。那个时候呢，我们这样子的一个呈现叫做一个 tile。那我们可以在中间的那一列随时把它改成其他的显示方法，比如说我们可以把它改成 table 这样的表格呈现。那刚刚Yoel还做了一件事情，就是说他把它改成 table 之后，发觉到这一个数字，因为数字很大，最后还多一个.00，那觉得那个.00其实在我们这样子的一个资料的表现其实是不需要的，所以他又回到画面最左边的地方，左下有很多的功能，其中如果你点到那个井字号的符号的话，就可以看到我要如何去呈现这个数字的格式，比如说其中有一个 decimal。它是可以表达说我这个数字要有几个位数，所以刚刚我们把它调成说我们不要有小数点后面的任何数字之后，它就可以直接变成一个比较漂亮的整数。那我们再回到我们的左边的这个列表，有看到我们其实还可以拉其他的一个参数进来跟这个表格做比较。所以Yoel呢，他做的事情是他想要找某一些图书馆的分馆，那去查询各个图书馆分馆的一个借阅数量，所以他就把它全部都拉进来。但拉进来当然图书馆很多，所以呢，你还可以用滑鼠的右键多重选择，那去选择你所要指定的这样子的一个分馆。选择好了之后呢，你就按下 Keep Selected， 就会形成我们现在这样一个比较简单干净的表格。那有问题欢迎大家再询问。那这是以上刚刚他做的动作。Yoel, please.
Okay. Now, if I want to start changing what's on the canvas, I don't need everything else on the screen here. I don't need the left pane, and I don't need this section here where I'm moving my mouse. So on the bottom right here, we have different ways of toggling the data panel. I'm clicking on the bottom right here. That means I got rid of the grammar panel. This is called the grammar panel that keeps disappearing. And this is going to get rid of the data panel. So now I have only the canvas. And now I can start making it look nice. So I can duplicate this one, or I can just change the visualization here. I can come here, for example, and choose a graph like this. Or I could have duplicated this, going to Edit, Duplicate, and then have a table and a graph. So this way I can display the data different ways. It might be that I don't need the table and the graph. So among all of these different options here, I can choose all different types of visualizations. This is one of the nice things about the data visualization, all of the different options of displaying the data. Last time, for example, we used a donut like this. So we can see the data differently depending on how we display it. We can also even add a picture here, select an image. We can put it from a URL or from our PC we can upload. And I might by chance have a picture here. So I can add a picture, or I can add, maybe I'll add a smaller picture instead. For example, I will get rid of this visualization, duplicate this one, edit, duplicate, add another one, select an image. Here's a smaller one. And then I can add on top of this additional ones. I can make even another visualization, duplicate visualization, and then I can reorganize them as well. Here, for example, I can put in text, and this can be, oh, I'm in Hebrew, sorry about that. Vice President of Ex Libris Taiwan. Play around with that. We can make it bold. We can make it larger. And we can change the color, just like any other textual situation here. Put it in the middle. I'll get rid of this one. We don't need both of them. So now we have a graph and we have a picture all next to each other. Before you translate, Alicia, I'm just going to save this, save as, and I can navigate to different places to save it. And I'll call this Loans by Library with the Vice President of Ex Libris Taiwan. Okay, go ahead, Alicia.
我也不知道他会这样玩我的照片，所以那个我继续翻，就是说那个刚刚这边的画面，就是说在我们这边比较长一点，就是刚刚我们在玩那个 table 的时候呢，你会看到就是我们现在其实已经把我们要的数字都已经放到右侧了，所以其实左边原本的 Alma Analytics 其实已经是不需要的东西，那你就可以在画面的右下角随时去切换你现在有的这个视窗的样子，所以切换之后呢，你可以看到就是我们后来剩下来就是只有那个我们所保留的这个图，那画面的你们的可以工作的空间会比较大。那接下来呢，如果说我们想要比较各种图表之间的使用，要怎么去呈现会比较好的话，你可以去重置现在这个图表。像我们刚开始预设的时候，先让它是一个长条图的呈现。当然，你也可以用像上次我们的 session 所提到的这种环圈图去呈现这样子一个数字，端看于你们想要呈现是怎么样的一个情况。那当然，刚刚Yoel在做的时候，就是我其实除了放我自己原本做的图表之外，你也可以加入新的一个就是自己原本拥有的一张图片，在我们现在所要呈现的这个视觉化的图表旁边。那在这个图表的一个使用方式的话，你除了可以直接上传一个新的图档之外，你也可以直接在上面增加一些新的文字去做这样子的对照图的一个说明。Then I think I'm done. Yoel, please.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the input file. If we go back, we now completed the brief review, and now we're going to talk about an input file. So I have on my PC here an Excel sheet which looks like this. And this Excel sheet is from another organization in the institution, not from the library. And this other organization in this example gives me a list with someone responsible for the purchase order line, the initiator of the purchase order line. It's not an Alma user. It's somebody who came along and said, we want to order this item. And then we have the corresponding purchase order line number. The purchase order line is in Alma. The initiator of the purchase order line is not in Alma. And we want to combine the data. Go ahead, Alicia.
那我们现在看到这张图表呢，其实是一个外部图表，它并不是来自于我们 Alma 本身，它可能是来自于其他的部门。比如说，我们知道左边的这个 P Online 是来自于 Alma， 这是我们所采购的东西。但是右边的这一些人 ，initiator 可能是推荐的人，或是谁说要买这些东西的，他可能并不是 Alma 原生的 user。那针对这样子的一个图表，这样子一个 Excel 表格，我们想要把它汇入 Alma 去进行相对应的比较的时候，我们首先要先有这样子的一个表格。Yoel, please.
Okay. And I also want to point out that this topic, there's a blog on this, and this links right to the blog that describes the whole process here. This is how to use an input file together with Alma Data and Alma Analytics Data Visualization. I'm not going to go through the steps of the blog here. We're going to do it, but you can read on your own in this blog. So now, here we go. This one here, I can close. And now we're making a new one. So from within the data visualization, I'm going to say create. And now instead of a project, I'm creating a data set. The data set is going to be the input file. Go ahead, Alicia, before I begin, because that's a very important point. I'm not creating a project now, I'm creating a data set, and that will be the input file. Go ahead.
OK， 那首先先说明一下，我们这个等一下要操作的这些步骤呢，我们后会再提供那个相对应的部落格文章给大家参考，会比较清楚。然后呢，一样我们还是进到了这个我们的视觉化这个表格的部分。那右上角的新的 create 创建之后呢，我们这次要特别注意的就是说，我们并不是要创建一个新的 project， 反而呢，我们要选择 data set。那这是一个很重要的步骤，请大家记得选资料集的部分。Yoel, please.
Okay, so I click data set, and now I can choose a file. It says drop data file here to click or browse. So I'm going to click it, and now I'm going to go get that file that we just looked at, and it loads it. Now by default, here you see the file on the bottom, and by default, it gives it here the name of the Excel file. But I'm going to call it input file 2021-0608. So we know we made that one today. This by default is called uploaded from, and then it gives the name of the file. And this is the name of the actual file. And I'm going to click add. Now I've added a data set to data visualization, and this is it right here. We're going to start using this now together with the data that's in Alma. Go ahead, Alicia.
OK， 我们刚刚在选择了创建新的 data set 之后呢，可以用拖移的方式把刚刚那个档案拖移到我们这个画面进来。拖移进来之后呢，你会看到它系统直接抓出了这一个档案的档名啊，还有相对应的内容，包含它的栏位本身等等。那当Yoel做的一个动作呢，它其实是把这个档案的说明，它直接改成自己想要用的一个名称，但当然档案名称还是依旧有保留的，只是我们自己帮它建了一个名字。那进来之后，你就会看到这样子的，选择新增之后呢，你就会看到现在的这个画面，我们就可以执行接下来的动作。Yoel, please. Yoel, you are muted.
Okay,
Yoel.
So yes. Okay, so
Sorry.
the data set is already in there. So I'm going to go home. And now I'm going to create a project, just like we've been doing all along. And I'll choose, you'll see here, here's the data set we just created. I could, under data sets, select this. And now if I say I want to display the purchase order line from finance, and I want to display the initiator of the purchase order line, I now have it in here, and I can do whatever I'd like with it. I'm now using the input file, but I want to combine this with the funds expenditure subject area. So up here, I'm going to say add and a data set, which is going to be the funds expenditure subject area, add to project. So now I have both the input file and the funds expenditure subject area, and we're going to start playing around with them together. Alicia, go ahead.
然后我们在这里看到，我们的 data set 已经在刚刚有一个画面，就是我们已经成功的把这一个档案汇入进去之后，我们就可以看到它在我们的 Alma 画面里面。那我们这时候可以回到我们的主画面，找寻这一个 data set。 点选这一个我们刚刚做的这个 data set， 选择这个档案之后呢，你会看到它其实在中间的那个栏位，同样的出现到他们原本那个档案里面有的2个栏位。所以其实我们这个时候也可以选择我们要的栏位去进行编辑，那跟我们平常在使用 Alma 原本的资料其实是一样的。那做完这个动作之后呢，那因为我们主要的目的是想要把它跟我们 Alma 内部的统计去进行结合，所以呢，我们还是要回到我们 Alma 的一个统计分析里面去找寻比如说我想要做的是 Funding Expenditure 这个地方，那进入到 Funding Expenditure 之后呢，我再去寻找我的这个 Subject Area。是放 expenditure 的地方，然后再去新增一个 project。所以你会看到画面的左方，其实我们的资料源已经有2块了，就是我们刚刚记的档案以及放 expenditure 的部分。Yoel, please.
Okay, now, in order to be able to use both the input file and the funds expenditure subject area in one report, we need to connect 2 fields from each. So we're going to connect the purchase order line from the input file with the purchase order line in the funds expenditure subject area. And to do that, we're going to click Prepare here on the top right. Then we're going to go to Data Diagram on the bottom left. And we see here there's a 0, meaning they're not connected. But if I click that 0, now I can start connecting them. So we'll say add another match. And from the input file, I'll choose the purchase order line from finance. And from the funds expenditure subject area, I'll choose the purchase order line reference number, PO line reference. Okay. And give that a moment. Now we see it's connected. There's a 1. So now we've connected a field from the input file with a field from the funds expenditure subject area. We can go back to the visualize and start making a report. Go ahead, Alicia.
我们要进行自己输入的档案以及我们内部 Alma 的统计分析的结合的时候，我们必须要帮它找寻连接点，我们必须要把它们2组资料找到一个栏位是共通的。所以呢，我们会看到就是Yoel的第一个动作是到右上角有3个步骤，第一个动作是 Prepare。在准备的阶段呢，我们点选进去之后，你会看到刚刚有左边跟右边的2大块资料群，在2块资料群的中间，我们有一个0的数字，这个0的数字代表它们中间其实是没有建立任何关系的。所以呢，当我们点选这个0的时候呢，你可以选择我们想要让他们建立关系的栏位是哪一个。所以刚刚Yoel就选择了一个 POL 的 reference 作为他们的连接点。点选之后呢，你会看到这个图中间那个0已经变成1了。当它变成1，代表它们有连接点，于是我们就可以往下一个步骤，也就是 visualize 的步骤。Yoel, please.
Okay, so now let's say we want to put in here the purchase order line reference from the funds expenditure subject area. So we'll say PO line reference. And we want the expenditure amount because our ultimate goal is to know how much was expended for each of these initiators. So we're putting in the purchase order line reference and the transaction amount. So now we have the transaction amount for every purchase order line. However, we only want the purchase order lines which are in the input file. Therefore, we'll go to the input file and we'll add the purchase order line from there. And we'll add the initiator. But now we only want ones, we see it's empty because we only want ones that have an initiator. So we'll filter by initiator is not null. I'm going to drag the initiator up here. This is one of the ways to make a filter. And I'll take these initiators, and now I have a good table. I have the initiator of the purchase order line, which is from the input file, and I have the transaction amount, which is from Alma. I don't need to display the purchase order lines anymore, so I'm going to click the X over here. And now I have what I want. I have the initiator and I have the transaction amount. I have combined, Alicia, when you talk to them, this is the important part. I have combined the field initiator of purchase order line from the input file with the transaction amount, which appears in Alma. Go ahead, Alicia.
OK，所以这边步骤有点多哈。那就是说，当我们刚刚其实都确定我们的资料已经准备好了，建立连接点之后，接下来我们要产生视觉化的过程。在这过程当中呢，首先我们要先把我们的一些所需要的栏位拉进最右方的表格。所以刚刚呢，他先有在我们自己的 Alma 的资料里面去拉了 POL 的 reference。然后还有拉我们的交易的金额都拉进来之后呢，我们自己的资料准备好了。接下来呢，我们再去找所谓的 input file 里面，一样它有的栏位是 PLL，就是我们比较的点，再拉上那个 initiator，拉进来之后，我们就等于成功的把两份资料集都结合在一起了。然后你会看到，其实我们的资料可能会有点多，因为我们在 input file 里面呢，其实我们这部分的 POL 有挂这个 initiator 的资料，所以他又在把这个资料拉到上方去做一个过滤与筛选。那把没有资料的部分都拿掉之后，就会看起来资料量少一些。那少一些之后呢，还不够。我们觉得 POL 其实它的那个重复的用来作为比较的点其实是不需要的，所以我们就把它拿掉。拿掉之后，最后我们就产生了像现在这样一个很干净的表格。我们知道 initiator 在各个不同的 POI 它所有的这个交易的总额是多少。Yoel, please.
Great. So now we're basically done. We could make a nice graph here, but we have everything we need, and we have the data from Alma, and we have the initiator from the input file. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the next topic, which is using filters with Alma Analytics data visualization. So there's basically 4 types of filters. Alicia, do we want to stop and see if there's questions about the input file before we go on?
Yeah, that would be great. I think we do have
Okay, so ask if there's questions.
So they are asking, are there any analytic reports specifically for e-resources?
Repeat,
by the way,
please.
yeah, hold on a second. Can I hold on? Would you mind if I post it to everyone? Okay. 所以 hold on a second. 如果大家有问题的话，麻烦尽量不要用私讯的方式。那麻烦寄给我们所有的那个panelist 的人，或者是寄给所有的，就是让大家都可以看到您的问题。那我们现在收到一个问题是在询问是否有电子资源的使用统计分析报表。So, Yoel, I think the question is about the usage report for e-resources.
That's a completely different question. That doesn't deal with input files, correct?
Yes, I agree with that. Because we don't need to use input file to because this question was asked at 2:10, so it was very early.
Okay, so let's save that for the end.
Okay,
If
sure.
there are questions about input files, let's go on.
Okay, would you hold on a second so that I can
Yes.
make everyone answer? Okay. 不好意思，我们刚刚有收到一个问题，那不好意思，因为我刚刚没有来得及翻译这个问题，但因为它跟那个 input file 比较无相关，所以我们放在比较后面一点再回复这个部分，好吗？那我们先往下走，那等一下我们会再回答这个问题，在最后的时候。Yoel, I've explained that. Please continue.
Okay, great. Thanks. So now, in order to show the filters, one of the easy ways to do it is to make a report or a project in the fulfillment subject area, because there happens to be a lot of places there where it's fairly easy to demonstrate the different filters. So let's go to the fulfillment subject area. And let's see what we've got here. In fact, I'm going to go to another environment. Bear with me. And where am I here? Okay, I'm going to go to this environment. And log in. Then we'll go to data visualization. So there are 4 types of filters, and they're all in the blog. Let me get to the blog. Here it is. So there's 4 types of filters. There's dates, range, a list, and an expression. And we're going to go through all 4 of them. So the date is pretty obvious. The date is, for example, a loan date, and it has a calendar. So if we look here and we go analytics, data visualization, and we're going to drag in the date filter. Let that load.
I'll translate during the load.
Yeah, go ahead while we're waiting.
那我们这边是要讲那个过滤与筛选条件。那其实呢，不管你是从 report 的角度进去或 project 角度进去都可以。那以我们这边来讲的话，其实我们有4种过滤的方式。现在在讲的是第一种日期的一个做法。日期的话，通常我们都会有相对应的那个日历，可以让大家做选择。那这个是另外一个环境。Is it normal that it is loading so long?
The first time it loads, it takes a while. The first, I went into the environment here. The first time you go into data visualization, it takes a while, especially because yesterday or Sunday, the new version came out. Anytime a new version, a new release comes out, everything has to get recached, the cache, the C-A-C-H-E cache, not the money.
Okay. So I explain that a little bit. 所以
Go ahead.
不好意思，刚刚那个资料在载入的时候花的时间比较长，那所以我刚问一下，就是说通常要载入这么久吗？那他刚刚是说，通常在首次载入的时候花的这时间会比较长，尤其我们在上周的时候刚做了一次新的版本更新，那通常在做完版本更新之后呢，它还会再重新做一次所谓的 cache 暂存的那个部分，所以比较久，所以让大家知道一下。Yoel, please.
Okay, so we're going to start with the date, and I'll drag the date up to the top. And then I can make a range. And there's 2 ways to make the loan date. I want to do start and end, which means it's between. One way is to simply write it. I can choose any date and say, for example, I want 29, let's say November 29th. 2020, and then hit enter. That's one way to put in the date. Another way to put in the date is to manually start choosing a date, and then I've got a date here. I clicked on December 11th, 2040, so I have December 11th, 2040. I can change the month by clicking the month. I can change the year by clicking the year, and I can also go month by month. I can also move around this way. I'll take 2021, December, and then I'll choose 31st, for example. So now I have from November 29th to December 31st, 2021, and I've made my filter. Go ahead, Alicia.
那其实过滤的条件这边比较直觉一点，就是说你可以设定它的起讫日期。那起讫日期你可以用手动输入的方式，也可以用手动点选的方式去进行输入。Yoel, please.
Okay. So the first one we said was the date, and we've just explained it, and everything is in here as well. Exactly what we did. The next kind we'll use is a range. And a range is used for measures and numbers. So we can use, for example, the measure, which is number of loans. So I'm going to take this number of loans, put this up here, and now here where it says range is the range. And I can put, let's say I want only loans between 10 and 100. And that's all. So enter. Now the range is between 10 and 100. I could also drag it and make a range. So now it's between 10 and 142. And I'm going to drag it back and make it between 10 and 100. So that's the range, Alicia, before you speak. So for example, if I were to put in a barcode here, under loan details, we have barcode. Loan details barcode. So this is going to give me only the barcodes which were loaned between 10 and 1 time. Now you're probably thinking, how come this isn't between 10 and 1? I have 1, I have 2, I have 3. I would expect the number of loans to be between 10 and 1. And the reason is, if I come here, it says it's by loan date. So that's how many times it was loaned by date, but I can change this. I'm clicking loan date and I'll say by barcode. So now I only have the barcodes. Oops, what happened there? I only have the barcode, which have between 10 and 1 loan. Go ahead, Alicia. Excuse me, between 10 and 100 loans. Go ahead, Alicia.
OK，然后我们第二种过滤与筛选的条件呢，就是用范围的方式来去限定我们现在所要取用的这些资料。那通常这是针对数量上面去进行的一种过滤与筛选。那一样，我们要进行这样子的设定的时候，你可以用手动填写的方式，也可以用拖曳的那个表格。那一样就是手动的拉选也是可以的。那就是因为它是用数量的方式去区分嘛。那你可以看到，刚刚他在做第一次的时候，他是希望把所有的数量介于10跟100，然后呢，他拉了这个条码号之后，发觉怎么还会有这种不是在10到100之间数量的这种资料出来呢？那其实是因为那个我们在这个过滤的条件上面，我们设定的10到100是指它借阅的天数，所以呢，我们这个就不对，所以你要把它改成借阅的它被借这个物件被借阅的总数，这样，那于是就会跑到现在这个表格，就只有10到100的借阅总数的的书会被选出来。Yoel, please.
Okay, so that's the range. So far date and range. Now we have a list. Search for a value and then click one or select all. So now I can put in any other field here, which would be a list. For example, the library name or the location name or the borrower details user group. Let's even put in the borrower details user group. So we'll say user group. I'll bring that up to the filter area. I'm going to get rid of this filter, delete. So now I've got only user group. And here it's a list, so I can say I want this one, and I want this one, and I want this one. So now I'm filtering just by people on the list. Here's another one, student distance. So now I filtered only by user group. I'm going to also display the user group here instead of the barcode. So I'm going to get rid of the barcode and display the user group. Okay, so now I've got only those 4 user groups that I chose from this list. Go ahead, Alicia.
那接下来这种是比较 list 是属于比较清单式的选择，所以你看到他这次选的范例呢，就是从 user group 里面去选择他想要的其中4种。那确定好之后呢，再把它应用上去之后，你可以看到最后呈现的结果就是只有这4种清单的借阅总数有被列在这上面。Yoel, please.
Okay, that was a fast translation. The last one, we did list. So far, we've done date, range, list, and now we've got an expression. An expression is a way that the user can write an SQL, which will do the filter. So for example, here, here, I'm going to remove this, delete. So now you see that there are various user groups that include the word student, student distance, student, and postgraduate student. So I'm going to write a filter now, an expression, which will get user groups only that have the word student in it. So here in filters, I'm on the bottom, I'm clicking filters, add expression filter. So now I can start writing SQL to do the filter. So I'll take this user group here. I dragged it in. And I'll say, for example, if I really want to get fancy, I'll say I want the lower user group to be like, and then student. I'll make this a little larger. Like student. So now I've written a little SQL here, which takes the user group, makes it lowercase, and then says it's going to be like student, because they might have it uppercase and lowercase sometimes, so now I'm covering them all. And before doing anything, I can click validate. It says invalid expression. So I've got something wrong here. What do I have wrong there? User group, get rid of the lower, user group, validate, invalid expression. Let's do it like this. We can even use these pre-made functions. So we can say is greater than, or let's say here. There we go. Like, it tells me how to use it. Like, and then it says what to do. Okay, so I'll do just like they say. Like, I click that, it automatically came in, and then I'll say like student. Maybe he didn't like my lowercase. Validate, invalid. You know what I'll say? User group, not no, or is not no. Validate. Oh, let's go take our example from here.
I'll do the translation in the meanwhile, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
现在我们的第4种可以用来过滤的一个条件叫做 expression， 我们通常是把它翻译成表现式啦。那这是在于如果大家对于 SQL 这种语法比较熟悉的时候，可以去使用的一个比较进阶的功能。那比如说他这边想要做的是针对我们的 user group 去寻找可能只有 student 这样子的一个表现式的一些资料，他想把它拉出来，所以他那个时候Yoel刚做的一个动作，他是先选这个 filter。然后拉了 user group 之后呢，那他就开始准备要做这样子的一个动作。那你可以看到他在用手动输入的时候呢，有一些东西他会在做完之后，他去按左下角的 validate 去验证一下我们这样的一个输入方式有没有错误。那我们刚刚做了2次都错了，所以他现在再去找其他的资源来去看看到底应该要怎么写。那他刚刚应该也有去查了一下文件，所以我们现在再来回头看看他现在要做的这个动作要怎么去做。So Yoel, I've done the translation.
Okay, and I will say user group. I'll drag it in. Let's not take you. Oh, I remember this story. There's something unique about the user group. Hold on, I'm going to take another field. We'll take, instead of borrower details, I'm going to take patron details. Let's try the patron details user group. Patron group. Like. Student. Calculation validated. Wow, I was getting more. Okay, apply. Now, if it was wrong, for example, if I forgot the apostrophe and I do validate, then it tells me it's wrong. So I know I have to fix it. Validate, apply, and now it's getting only those with a patron group, which is like students. They all have the word student in here.
OK， 所以可以看到那个刚刚应该是拉错了栏位，那个栏位不应该用那种表现式，所以他后来换了一个新的栏位叫 patron group 之后呢，再去试着去执行这一个 expression 之后就成功了。那你会看到最后这个留下来的表格，就是说这些栏位里面有像是学生的这些，它就会跑出来比较干净。Yoel, please.
Okay, so that covers what we wanted to talk about for the filters. Now we want to talk about functions. How to use the functions, and stress to them, Alicia, that even if I'm going fast, everything I'm showing we've got these blogs that explain step by step everything I'm doing. Now I'm doing the functions, so they can do it by themselves.
所以我们再重申一下，虽然有些操作会比较快，但是其实我们都是根据现在我们在部落格上面所有可以看得到的文件，所以如果后续有不清楚的地方，可以看录音档，也同时可以回去参照我们的部落格文献，所以我们速度会稍微快一点，请见谅。Yoel, please.
Okay, so let's say I don't want the patron group anymore. Let's say I want the policy, the fulfillment policy that was used. So I'm going to search up here for the policy. Last time we showed that it's possible to search for a field. And I'm going to take the policy name. Okay. Now we see here that sometimes we have lowercase day, and here we have uppercase day. And maybe we want, anytime where it says day, we want it always capital. So they'll all be the same, because sometimes they have capital, sometimes it's not capital. So we can make a calculation which changes an existing field. And we'll say, get rid of that. Here we have add, and we're going to add a calculation. And now we can start doing whatever we'd like to do. So first of all, we're going to take the loan policy name, because that's the one we're changing around. I'm dragging that in. And now I can either write my own calculation like we did with the filter, or I can choose from the existing operators. Go ahead, Alicia.
OK， 所以在我们这次想要做的事情是，我们在我们的流通政策里面，有一些政策里面你会看到它14天的借略、15天的借略之类的，它的那个 day 有些是大写，那个 d 有时候是大写，有些是小写。那我们这边就是想要去做一点修改的话，你可以在这边那个最左边的右上角那一边的增加里面去新增一个计算式。然后拉我们的 policy name 进来之后，就可以执行跟刚刚很类似的一些动作。Yoel, please.
Yep, I can even here. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I can even here put in another language if I want. Let me do, let's see if I can copy that. That's day, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I can say here now, I'll take this policy name, and under string, I'm going to choose replace. So now I'm going to replace the policy name, Control X, oops, replace, sorry, replace policy name, day, lowercase day, with uppercase day. We'll do it like this for now, then we'll get fancy with the Chinese. And let me check here what we did here. So here, same thing, we have lowercase and uppercase. We add the calculation just like we did, and we're going to call it something else in a moment. We put in the policy name, we chose replace. And then we have replaced the policy name, the original, the last. Let's do that. And I'll call this policy name day. Save. Great. Now, policy name. Now I have a new field. The new field is down here in my calculations. I'm going to drag that one in. And now you see the policy name day, this one here, the word day is capital. Here it's capital, here it's not. Here it's capital, here it's not. So it replaced all throughout that policy, it replaced the lowercase day with the uppercase day. I want to try one more thing before you translate, Alicia. What would happen if I replace day, that, save? Nice. So now I've put in the word K in Chinese here. I could also change the word. Well, that would be nice. Let's do that just for the fun. Nah, let's not go too crazy. We only have 9 minutes left. Go ahead, Alicia.
OK，所以这边的话就是说，我们如果想要刚好提到就是针对某一些栏位的值去做改变的话呢，那像我们这边用的一个计算式是用取代，用 replace。那我们刚刚可以看到有第一个动作是把小写的 day 全部取代成都用同一层大写，这样比较好看。另外一个他又在做一个修改，值的栏位修改，我们把它改成中文，就会变成现在的这个画面。Yoel, please. That was very short. Sorry.
Okay, so now we've shown the functions and now the catalog and navigation. How do we get around here? So anything that is saved, where am I here? I've got too many windows open. Anything that is saved, I'm going to go in again. And log in. The same structure of the Alma analytics reports exists also for the data visualization projects. For example, if I go in here now to data visualization and I save a project anywhere, I'm going to open a project and then save it somewhere, just so we can see what's happening. I'll take electronic cost usage. I think we made this one last time together, actually. Let that open. So I'm gonna, this opened an analytics dashboard from data visualization. Here, I'm going to take this project called Loans by LC Subject, and I'm going to save this, save as. I'll save it under, let me go, shared folders. I'm in an environment called Alma University, and I'll save it under Alma University Reports, and I'll call it Loans with the Chinese. So I'm saving a project now under Alma University Reports. I will see this now even when I'm in analytics. So now I'm in analytics. I'm in Alma Analytics. I'm not in data visualization. But if I go to that directory, which was Alma University Reports, I called it Loans with the Chinese Group, I believe. EFGHIJKL. Loans with the Chinese Group. Here it is. We can see that it's not an analytics report. We can see that it's a data visualization. And if I click open on it, it opens in data visualization. So from data visualization, when I do the catalog, here we are. When I'm in data visualization and I go here to catalog, I can see analytics reports and data visualization projects. And when I'm in analytics, I can also see analytics reports and data visualizations. It's the same structure. And Alicia, I'll just add one thing. It's very similar to when I'm in Windows Explorer. And if I click on an Excel sheet, it opens an Excel file. If I click a PowerPoint, it opens a PowerPoint. If I click a PNG, it opens a picture. So each way, I'm viewing the whole file system, but it will open either in data visualization if it's a project, or it will open in analytics if it's an analytics report. Go ahead, Alicia.
OK，其实我觉得从后面翻可能比较容易，就是像它刚刚最后面那个档案夹的格式一样，我们在档案夹里面，不管到哪一个目录夹里面，你都可以同时开启不同的档案，不管它是 Excel 档案、PDF 档案、图档等等，那它会并列在同一个目录夹里面。那同理可证，在我们的 Oracle 的这个环境里面呢，其实你也可以同时在 Analytics 的在这目录夹里面，你可以看到 Analytics 里面的 Report。 同时也可以看到我们的资料视觉化里面的 project。那以刚刚由 L 来讲的话，它其实就是在我们 Alma 大学里面的 report 储存的一个中文团体的借阅，反正就是一个新的一个 project。那你进去目录夹之后，你就可以直接开启。唯一的不同就是前面的这个图示会告诉你它是属于 analytics 的 report 还是属于 DV 的 project。那这个是它所要表达的，是存在同样一个目录夹的概念。Yoel, please.
Okay, now someone had a question at the beginning, and I said let's wait till the end. I believe it was something about cost usage or something, or usage, or any questions. Take now.
Usage. It was about the usage.
Okay.
Electronic resources usage report. I think it was related to like sushi harvested counter report in Alma, and probably we
Okay.
can learn the usage to analyze it or
Okay.
visualize it.
Okay, so all of the, let me make a new one. All of the counter reports that are loaded to Alma are available in the usage data subject area. So we can say create and a project, and we can choose the usage data subject area, add to project. Now, before I make something here, I will state in the e-inventory subject area, we also have the counter reports. The difference, and then I'll stop so you can translate. So listen to the difference. In fact, I'm going to write this down so it'll be clear. What is that? File new. So the usage, I'll make this larger. The usage data subject area includes all usage counter reports loaded to Alma. On the other hand, the e-inventory subject area includes all counter reports loaded to Alma for which the resource in the report also exists in Alma, because sometimes people will get a report from a vendor. It includes a resource, let's say Introduction to Chemistry, that the institution doesn't have. So it won't be in the inventory subject area, but it will be in the usage data subject area. Go ahead, Alicia, but do it quick, and then we'll make a usage data project, which I'll already start making while you're translating.
Okay, good. 所以呢，我们刚刚是有一个关于电子资源使用分析的报表，我们这边解读应该是想说是如何去分析使用 counter 资源里面的使用统计啦，所以我们先以这个方向来回答。那以这个部分来讲的话，counter 的使用统计，我们一般是使用的 subject area 是在 usage data 里面，所以刚刚我们是以这样的方式先进入。但是有一件事情比较重要，有特别提醒我们，就是说，除了在 usage data 这个 subject area 里面会有 counter 的资料之外呢，其实我们在 e-inventory 就是电子馆藏的部分也会有 counter 的资料在里面。那这边两边的主要差异就是说usage data 可能是全部的，你这边你有去收割的这种 counter 的使用统计都会在里面，我们都可以做分析。但是 e-inventory 的话，则是指说在我们 Alma 里面才有的资源，我们才会去做分析。So Yoel, please.
Okay, so now I'm in the usage data subject area, and just as an example, I have all of the measures. This is counter release 5, and I have all of the different measures here for counter release 5. For example, I'll take the PR unique item requests, drag that in. I'll change this for now to a table. And then I can take, for example, the platform name. So now I have the platform with the number of, once that loads, I have the platform with the number of requests. I'll make this into, oh, I got a lot here. So let's say I don't want those with 0. So I can say anything with 0. We already know from last time that I can drag this up here. It's a measure. And then I can say I want it to start, let's say anything over 2000. So it's going to start with anything over 2000. And now I have only those over 2000. So there's 2000 of that measure, which is the platform report unique item requests. And then like anything else, I can come and I can make a different visualization. And then I can come and I can sort it however I'd like from high to low, for example. And that's a basic report using usage data. Go ahead, Alicia, and then I'm afraid we're going to have to end. It's 10:01. Go ahead.
所以我们这边这个系统目前有的就是 Counter Release 5的一个资料，那我们这边用的范例就是 PR Unique Item Request 这一个报表，但我们还是想要加上这个 Platform Name 的名称，所以把它拉进来之后，发觉这个列表会太长，所以我们就用我们刚刚学到的一些技巧，比如说我们想要把资料限制于只有2000以上的这种 request 我们才要，所以我们就过滤了一下2000以上才拿到。拿到之后，一样我们右上去按一个视觉化的报表之后，我们就可以把它生密或降密排列。现在这就是一个折线图的一个呈现方式。那我希望这有回答到那个这位同仁的一个问题。那如果有其他问题，可以在因为时间有点到了，所以如果说有问题的话，欢迎会后再寄信给我们。那我想应该这样就可以了。Yoel, I've done your translation. So is there anything you would like to add?
No, there's nothing I'd like to add except for a very big thank you for having the crowd listen to me for that whole time. Thank you for being so patient. Let me just see what this person says. Let's see if I can put this here. Hold on. Let's see if this is going to work. If I do this. Sorry, because I didn't the first DV course. May the DV results also have APIs like analytics reports to retrieve? It's really not a relevant question. The question here, can we use APIs for data visualization reports? Because the API only brings data. It doesn't bring visualizations. It brings numbers in attributes and measures. So the API works on the analytics reports, not on the data visualization, because an API only brings data. It doesn't bring graphs and charts and pie charts and things like that. Go ahead, Alicia.
I see. 那关于这个问题呢，刘已经协助回复了，就是说，因为我们的 API 其实要截取的是资料本身，所以它只能够截取 Analytics 里面的资料，但是它没有办法截取图表或者是就是那些图表啊，那些东西，所以目前是没有的。
Let me show one more thing, if I may. Well, let's stop here. It's getting late. But one more thing, where the person asks, for example, can the statistical analysis report be cast into web page content? Yes. And there's a nice example here. This is Lincoln University in New Zealand. This is completely open to the world. I'm not going into their personal data. This is their website for the library. And what they have here is analytics reports that they're displaying here. For example, they're taking this from the fulfillment subject area, running an API that brings in the data, and then they're displaying it here. Same here, this is data, this is number of loans, how much do people borrow? They're bringing an API to bring in the data, and then they're displaying it here. Same thing here, this is the popular searches, there's Primo Analytics, and they're displaying here also. So yes, back to the original question, yes, it is possible. Oh, I don't have the original question. It is possible to take the data and then display it in a web page. Go ahead.
But Joel, I'm just curious before I translate. Because this is actually the for Lincoln University, their graph is already visualized. How can the librarians leverage the digital DB feature in Alma, and probably we can cast it to the web pages?
It's not using the data visualization on that page. Let me go back to that page. This page is not using data visualization. Hold on, let that load. This is not data visualization. There's an API which is bringing just the data. It's bringing an XML that says, for example, CV check, 67 loans, and cover letter check, 39 loans, and whatever the data is. Then they're doing something else here to make it display. What are they doing with something else? I'll show you here. If we go, and I'll send you in the chat this location. Under the analytics here, there's a section here about how to use, for example, Google Charts. And it displays the Google Charts. It takes the APIs, brings it, and shows how to take the information and display it differently. I'm going to send you here.
So they're using Google Charts at the moment.
No, I don't know what they're doing. The example I have here is Google Charts. They could be doing different ways. Oh, someone even wrote here Google Chart.
Yes, this person says that actually he or she also sees that Google Chart to assist it with visualization.
Yes, because once you display it somewhere else, you have to use whatever tools you have in that other web page. You can't take the picture from the data visualization and display it somewhere else automatically.
Or maybe just not at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it. Hold on a second. 不好意思啊，刚刚就是那个讨论，就是说，目前我们在资料视觉化的这一部分还不能够做到用 API 去截取里面的图。那Yoel有提供我们其他的资料，比如说你们如果有其他的视觉化的工具，例如我们在我们的Knowledge Center 上面有提供的一些文件，就是说明我们如何使用 Google 的视觉化工具来去使用 Alma 里面的资料，这样子。Okay, I've done the translation, Yoel.
All right, so I think next sessions we'll make it an hour and a half, because this one we did 2 hours, still don't have enough time. So next time we'll do an hour and a half, and tell everybody thanks a lot, and we look forward to seeing them in our next session. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you, Yoel. 那今天谢谢大家的参加。那如果我们会再发 email 跟大家通知说我们今天大概上的内容，以及一些可以参考的文件以及档案。那今天谢谢大家，有问题请跟我们联系，谢谢。